Hey guys, and welcome back to the Carry My Heart podcast. I'm Carrie. This is a podcast about knitting and crocheting and just craftiness in general here where I live in Chicago, Illinois. And thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time, welcome. I would love if you would subscribe, leave a comment, just let me know that you watched this video. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much. Just really grateful for you guys. So where you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at KECogan. You can find a Ravelry group for this podcast just by searching Carry My Heart podcast on Ravelry. And you can read my blog at kerryecogan.blogspot.com. And all of the show notes for this episode will be on Ravelry, which I will link down below. So just want to talk with you guys for a few minutes first. I feel like I've been quite sporadic about this podcast, and I want to explain why a little bit. I just feel like I've been a bit behind on pretty much everything in my life right now. I am definitely behind on watching podcasts for sure. Every time I finally get around to watching a podcast, a new one is uploaded by the same podcaster. And as much as I love just having a new episode at my disposal pretty much instantaneously, it's a little sad. And then at the same time, I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, so-and-so has a new episode. I can't believe it's been a week already. And then I start freaking out about this podcast and how it is not consistent. I am sorry for that. It's going to have to be one of those things right now. And I need to stop worrying about it. So just give you a little update on what's going on in my life. I am currently getting my master's. I got my undergraduate degree in applied mathematics, and I am currently getting my master's to teach secondary education, in particular math. So I want to teach high school math, and I am loving my coursework, but that being said, it is a lot of work. It just is pretty much constant. So, take today, for instance. Part of one of the things that I have to do for my classes is I have to get field experience. I will be doing student teaching next year in the spring, but right now in my classes, I have field experience just to, make sure that I am exposed to all the different things that can happen in a classroom and to just sort of put me at ease with what I'm going to be doing next year with student teaching. So I had some some field experience today. I pretty much just went to a school in the city and got to sit in on some classes, which was really great, but is pretty much a full-time thing. It was from 8 until 3, and then after that, I have class in the evenings. So really the only downtime I have, I feel like all I'm doing is eating or just doing some knitting, or mainly working just on all the homework I have. It's a lot of reading, a lot of paper writing. So that is why I've been inconsistent, and I apologize. I just wanted to let you all know about that. That being said, I probably shouldn't promise you all anything about weekly episodes. Right now, I've been doing about an episode every week and a half, which seems to be working out pretty well for me. And I think by declaring it here on the podcast, it'll help take some of the pressure off of me, because between school, I also am working because grad school is not free. And it is definitely not cheap. So, I'm just working retail because it's the only thing with hours that are flexible enough to accommodate my schooling schedule. So, and then simultaneously, I am planning my wedding, which has been really fun, but there's a lot to do, as I'm sure many of you know or can at least imagine. So thanks for sticking around, and let's go ahead and dive into some works in progress. Thanks for listening to me blather on for a few minutes. So my first work in progress, I'm actually not going to pull out because I have not worked on it at all this week. It is my Tiffany triangle shawl, which I am knitting in Knit Picks gloss lace yarn in the colorway Port. You've probably seen it in every other episode of my podcast. If you're curious what it looks like, just go look at my previous episode 6, I believe. I think this is episode 7. If not, I will correct it for the actual title on YouTube. But moving on to my next work in progress, it is something that I sort of showed last week, but actually have more of it to show you. And I started a Cozy Memories blanket, which is really, really exciting. I totally get the appeal of these blankets, and I understand why pretty much every other podcaster is working on one. So I joined along in knitting one of these blankets because of Shannon of Socksetera, her Blanket Blitz Cal, and I don't have a lot to show you, but here's my first ever square. It is knit using just a little mini that I got from Essential Fiber when I went to YarnCon. It is their Essential Fingering base. No idea what the colorway is, but it is just so pretty. It's this beautiful orange with bits of like a soft orange and some reds, and it is so pretty. It's just so gorgeous. And I don't really go for oranges when I'm knitting, and so just having it as a little square has really been really satisfying. Definitely been satisfying the small inclinations that I do have towards orange, even though I would probably never make a garment or anything larger than this square out of this color. That being said, it's gorgeous. And that being said, thank you, Shannon, for not making this cowl some monstrously large project, because I'm not sure how many of these squares I'm going to get done by the time the cowl is finished. So yeah, because obviously it took me a week to do one, just because. Not because I don't want to work on it, I really do, just don't really have the time. Sorry about that, my camera cut out. But I do have my next minis picked out for the next squares that I want to do in my blanket. This tiny little guy is yarn that I used for my first Antarctica shawl. This is Hearthside Fibers in the Poison Dart Frog colorway, which I am obsessed with. So this guy is probably going to go in next. And then I also have these 2 minis from Florida Fiber, which is a local yarn dyer who unfortunately is no longer going to be local because she's moving to the East Coast. But these gorgeous minis I picked up at YarnCon, and I can't wait to add them into my blanket. So I definitely have some motivation to work on this guy. I think part of the reason why I haven't added another square aside from time constraints is just because I actually haven't looked up the best way to add the squares. So partially laziness, partially lack of time. So my next project is something brand new. I purchased the pattern for this quite some time ago, found the perfect yarn for it, and then put it off. And honestly, I'm thinking about putting it off some more because I am not understanding the pattern completely yet. That being said, this is the Hitofude pattern. This is Knit Picks Knit Picks Capretta and the Regal colorway, which is a fingering weight yarn, 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Really, really soft and gorgeous. It's this beautiful, beautiful purple color, which is not focusing, but you get the idea. It's so soft and lovely. But that being said, if anyone has made this pattern, you will probably understand where I'm getting caught up in it. I clearly just started it. I'm maybe 3 rows past the cast on, which was a provisional crochet cast on. That wasn't really the issue. The issue is I can't get past how I'm going to have a certain number of stitches on my needles after I sew the arms. I don't understand. I've read the pattern at least half a dozen times, and I can't get past this one bit in my head, and so I'm really hesitant to keep knitting because I don't want to do all this work and then find out I messed up somewhere along the way and then have to rip it all back. I guess I could put in a lifeline. But I would really just like to figure out the pattern before I go too much farther. I'm actually going to be knitting with some lovely ladies here in Chicago on Sunday, so I'll probably bring this along and ask for guidance on the pattern. It's a very popular pattern, and I don't know why it has been confusing me so much, because I don't think other people have had the same confusion that I am having. I've scoured all the different Ravelry projects, and no one seems to have made a comment about how they overcame this particular bit of the pattern. So I think I just need someone else to look at it and tell me what's going on with it exactly. If you have made this sweater, please leave a comment down below, perhaps presenting the solution to this problem or clarifying it for me, because it's blowing my mind right now. But I really, really, really want to make this sweater because it is so gorgeous. I actually got to see a sample of it when I was at YarnCon, and it's even more stunning in person. So I can understand why so many people have made it, because it is so gorgeous. And I think in the end, it's actually going to be really simple. I just need to get past this one hurdle. So enough of me rambling about this, because it's just blowing my mind. That's really all I can say about it. So let's move on to finished objects, because there's a big old elephant in the room, and it is this gorgeous shawl. I mentioned with this mini, my first Antarctic shawl. This is Antarctic number 2. Pretty much as soon as I finished my first one, I cast on another one because I love the pattern that much. The difference being that this time I used sport weight yarn instead of fingering weight yarn. I used Knit Picks Hawthorne Sport in the Selwood colorway, and I ended up having pretty much exactly enough yarn. I had, I think, 3 grams left over, so it was just a tiny, tiny little ball that was left over. And this thing is huge. You can't even see it all. The ends go down quite a bit. I'll take it off so I can hold it up and show it to you. But I blocked it out on Saturday, and you can't even see it all because it's 7 feet wide. It is absolutely enormous, but it is so beautiful. I'm in love with it, and I love it not just because it's beautiful, but I also love it because it's long enough to wear in a more traditional shawl kind of way. So you guys, I'm in love. It's so pretty. When I wear it like this, it almost goes down to my knees, but I think I kind of like that. You know, I initially blocked it out and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit ridiculous how just long this is. But that being said, I don't have any regrets. I actually really, really like that it's so big. And it's just it's so comfortable. It's so squishy and soft. And because it's so long, if, on really cold days, I have enough length to definitely wrap it around my neck twice. So I am so happy with it. And I can't recommend this pattern highly enough, obviously, because I may have made 2 Antarctises now. If you have not checked out, who is the pattern designer? Her first name is Janina, I believe. Her last name begins with a K, and that's about all I can remember, but all of her patterns are so gorgeous. I chose the Antarctis because I think it probably has the largest number of projects on Ravelry. Many people have made this shawl, and I can understand why, but her other patterns are just as beautiful. So now I'm going to talk for a minute or two about some acquisitions that I have. First thing I'm going to show you is some books, and all the things I'm going to show you, I did not purchase. They were actually given to me. They're hand-me-downs of sorts. So the first one is this sewing book. This is Sewing 101, and I have flipped through this book and I really, really like what I see. It seems like such a good resource because I am such a beginner sewist. I have no sewing skills at all whatsoever. So this book could not have come at a more perfect time in my life because I can see my sewing machine right now, and it is sad and it wants me to use it. And I think this book might give me the little push that I need. It has pretty much all the information that I could ever need to know. It has tips about checking your tension and all the different stitches that you can make. And although it's not machine specific, it's pretty universal. So this is going to be a really great resource. The other book is another sewing book. This is the Magic Pattern book, and it pretty much details 6 different basic patterns, but then 6 variations that you can make of each of those patterns. So it has the tank top, the skirt, the dress, the cardigan, the coat, and the accessory. And so it pretty much, like, the first pattern is just as basic as it gets, and then the next 5 for each of the 6 is just variations on it and how to make it your own and how to take it to the next level. And so this is going to be really great because I'm not quite to the stage where I'm going to be buying patterns because I really don't know what to look for yet. And I'm really, like most people, drawn to more intermediate or advanced patterns just because I really like the way the finished object looks. But I'm definitely a beginner and I need beginner patterns, so I need to tell myself to rein it in and take it easy. And I think this will be a great book to help me take some first steps. So the next couple things that I have is actually some yarn. And I have a couple different ones, some duplicates, so I won't show them all. But I got some Knit Picks Shine Worsted. This blue color is the colorway Clarity, and this is Serenade. And if you've never used Knit Picks Shine Worsted, this yarn is so incredibly soft. It's 60% Pima cotton, 40% modal, and they're really, really, really great, and I'm really lucky to get these. And then this guy, it doesn't have a label, but I knew instantly what it was. This is Knit Picks Dishy, which is 100% cotton. Really, really great. I use Dishy for hand towels and all of those other goodies. Really sturdy, really fun. I'm not sure what color this is, but it's this beautiful oatmeal color. And knowing Knit Picks, I'm pretty sure they have a colorway called oatmeal. So I might have hit the nail on the head, but do not quote me on that. I have not gone and looked online. And this other yarn, I have absolutely no idea what it is. There's no label on this one either. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a Knit Picks yarn just because I'm pretty familiar with Knit Picks yarns and I don't recognize it, although I could be wrong. But it's just this beautiful reds and browns and oranges, and it feels soft. It feels like, gosh, I don't know. Originally I thought there might be some acrylic in there, but probably like a wool, maybe some non-acrylic, if that makes sense. Another synthetic, I guess. A non-acrylic. But it's just this beautiful, beautiful color. And if you by any chance recognize this yarn, on the off chance that you do, please tell me what it is, because I would really love to know. It looks like a worsted weight, and that's all I know about it. I would like to know what it is just so I can know in case I want to buy more of it, and just so I can get an idea of how much yardage it is without having to put it on my Swift and measure it myself. So if you have any idea what this is, please let me know. I would be greatly appreciative. So yeah, those are my acquisitions, and that is actually all that I have for this week. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for listening to me blather on about tons of different things, and stay tuned for the next episode. Please subscribe so that you can stay up to date with when I'm posting, because I've been posting sporadically. That'd probably just be the best way to know for sure when I'm going to have a new episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. I am incredibly grateful for you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of the day and an amazing week ahead. Bye, guys.